This is the 1 year reading for T2 Biosystems, that's ticker symbol TTOO, for the year of 2023. It's currently October 12th, 2022, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a pretty bullish, bullish theme card to get, or overall trend card, the gain card. It'll be a move higher that will stand out on a multi-year chart. It's crossed with an attempt to establish or reestablish support. Looks like there's a point early in the month, maybe like early in the year, maybe in like the middle of the first quarter, somewhere where we want to purchase some protection, and then it looks like there's some unrest in the company in the second quarter somewhere, like some internal unrest. And then it looks like another pretty bullish card. It implies there's a little bit of a decline there, but another pretty bullish card for 2024 sneak preview. The behavior on the 1 year's all-time high is going to be a notable reversal. It will stand out on a 1 year chart at least, possibly a multi-year chart. Behavior around the 1 year low. There'll be a rally that ends with a fast, sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that through the diagonal trend line that the rally was rallying along. And after we break down through it, the volatility increases into the low. The highest high and the lowest low, they're in close proximity to each other as well. So I would say within like a 3 month, on a 1 year scale, within like a 3 month kind of range. So we start out with a high for the year in January. Starting when you see the high in like the first, in one of the earliest positions, it's generally kind of bearish right off the bat because you're falling off of a high position. It looks like we revisit a support level in the midst of some sideways rotation around the high. There's a sharp dip when we revisit a support level. That was an opportunity. The end of a rally at the beginning of January, and it looks like a pretty sharp decline after 3 pokes through the same price level in the end of January. There's a sharp decline. There's a sharp decline in early January, and a lot of price movement. It looks like in late January, after 3 pokes through the same price level, there's a sharp decline there, and then it looks like we have a prominent trough that will stand out for the year here between the end of January and early February. And guys, keep in mind, on a broad scale this big, you have to leave maybe like a 2-week wiggle room here for these charts, because each card is representing 2 whole weeks. It's pretty broad. But there should be a trough or something here towards the cusp of January, February, and a rally out of it along a diagonal trend line in early February, breaking through 2 horizontal resistances and then meeting a third resistance, I should say, and pulling back to somewhere between the second and the third price level. A big rally into the high for February. The behavior around the low. So to reach the low for February, there will be a resistance level that was met with a little bit of a rally into it, and then a breakdown from that resistance with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. And those spikes up on the way down will usually meet moving averages as resistance. And that type of decline will take us into the month's low for February. And then we have an important price level that's highlighted for a resistance level in late February. It looks like there may be like some sort of an agreement that's come maybe 2 parties come to some sort of compromise or an agreement of some kind. But chart-wise, there'll be kind of like a lull in volatility and flatten out a bit. And then there's a breakout in early March. Rallying starts in very early March. It looks like there's selling from a crest in early March from near overbought territory on RSI to a trough in early March, and then there's a pretty notable rally out of that, a breakout out of that, but that rally higher out of the trough in maybe like the first week of March, that rally out of it marks an opportunity to position oneself for a downturn. There's a U-shaped dip around the March high, and then it looks like we'll still be rallying into. Well, there's a lot of movement higher here in March. It looks like we'll still be moving higher into late March, but towards the last week of March, we have a decline that commences. And that takes us to another important trough or low for the month. That takes place in early April. There's a move higher, even in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds. There's a move higher in early April. Sideways rotation along a key support level near the high, so that's kind of bullish for April. And a fast sudden move higher out of the low in early April to meet a high in early. It looks like probably in early April. So we have the high and the low both in early April, and then we do some sideways rotation along the key support level in late April. Looks like we come to maybe like a minor crest here at the end of April. There's a swing trade opportunity near the high of April involving, it looks like Congress is involved, or a holding pattern of some kind due to some speaker or maybe an executive of the company, somebody not so common in headlines. And this may be where there's some unrest actually. All right, so we have in early May we have it's that same trade opportunity. There's something having to do with the Hierophant all throughout like the third quarter, or the second quarter, and it looks like that probably is where the unrest is. Something to do with it looks like an executive. There may be some sort of like change in executives or leadership here towards the end of June, but there's definitely some sort of like executive stuff going on. There's a trade opportunity involved in it all throughout this second quarter. But we in early May we fall from a support level down to another support level, and then we rotate sideways along that support. The high, there's a trade opportunity in there in early May as well, and then the high for May is within close proximity to a low for the month. So probably there's probably a high in May's high in early May, and then we have a sharp drop. Looks like we declined pretty hard to reach the low from a overbought crest. We declined pretty hard to reach the low for the month, which also will be an important low for the year as well. So we have an important low in April and an important low there in May as well. Looks like we probably go lower. I'm advised to buy protection even near the end of May, where where we should be at a low, indicating that there's a lower price level still to come. Still trade opportunity involved in early June. There's a move higher that'll stand out on a 1 year chart, and we turn resistance into new support. We sell from near overbought territory in RSI from the June high down, which it looks like the June high is probably towards the end of the month. Oh, there's very likely, I left out, there's very likely my light was blocking it, but there's very likely a year's high here in April. Probably another high there in May, maybe not as high but close in late May. In probably early June. And then in late June, there's a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move to the upside, and there may be some legality, some sort of like legislative, or I should say litigation or something to do with bylaws, maybe something like that in late June is highlighted, and there's a trade around that as well. The low for June there is a price level at which one could position themselves in both directions utilizing options. So that's something to be aware of. And then in July, we have a sharp decline in early July through multiple support levels on a 1-year chart. An important resistance level highlighted near the low for July, and then there's a high and a low correlator here in late July, so quite a bit of movement. There'll have to be quite a bit of movement here, and looks like we probably have a high. So there's sideways fluctuations with a bullish trend leading into the July high, but that bullish trend precedes a decline, and it looks like late July there's a big move higher standing out on a 1-year chart, but it's followed by a full retracement of that move higher back down, and we should see a high become a low in early August. Again, a price level in early August that highlights while we're attempting to establish or reestablish support at a key level on a 1-year chart. There's an opportunity there to position oneself in both directions utilizing option strategies. There is a high, the August month's high forms when there's a move higher through resistance on a 1-year chart. We stay above it briefly, and then we break back down through the same price level, full retracement back down. And it looks like sideways rotation near this may be the year's low here in early August. There may be a year's low here in early August, either here or in late October, but it could be the same low actually. Anyhow, there's a low in early August. And sideways rotation with a fast sudden move higher marking the end of that period of volatility. A male ruler of nations highlighted there in the end of August, and then early September we have an opportunity to cash in on a position or roll a position. There's a swing trade opportunity also involving the Hierophant. A lot of stuff involving the Hierophant, which is that leader or executive that's highlighted in the second quarter quite a bit. There's a female ruler of nations highlighted near the September high. It looks like there's also an important an important crest there in early high. There's a lot of price movement to reach it. And then from the September's month's high, which seems to be in early September, there's sideways fluctuations with a bearish trend that precedes a rally. The end of September, there's multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance on a 1-year chart. And then the low of September is forms where there's a sharp dip within a period of bearish price swings. It looks like October, there's a decline in early October. There's going to be quite a lot of movement here in October because we have in early October and late October, we have correlations to both highs and lows for the year. So there's quite a bit going on here. But in early October, there's a decline that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. And the trade involves a decline to and through a support level to meet another support level. We bounce along on that sideways for a bit, and then we break down through multiple support levels. Multiple headwinds pushing shares lower into the low for the month of October, which also is very likely the same low as August or around August, or even a lower low, but it's probably the same low. And then there's a big move higher to reach the high out of like oversold territory or to fill a previous gap down. There's a big move towards the end of the month of October. So it looks like out of the low, there's a big move higher, pushing the upper end of a range higher, and we attempt to establish a key support level on a 1-year chart there towards the end of October and into early November. Also, somewhere around the cusp of October, November, there's somebody speaking. Something important is like a speech or like maybe like a seminar, not a seminar, but like a press conference. There's lies being spoken, enthusiasm, optimism is false, it seems. And there's sideways fluidity along that support level on the cusp of October, November. Sideways fluidity, meaning equal amounts of bulls and bears, inflow and outflow, up and down, so you kind of just go sideways. Important crest, most likely important crest there in early November. Failed attempt to break through key resistance near the high of November, the month's high of November, and then we break down through key support, and that's on a 1-year chart. It looks like we declined pretty hard. Sorry. Okay, I take that back. We don't decline pretty hard in late November. We actually move pretty hard to the upside in late November. There's a big move higher in late November out of a low, out of a November, late November month's low. There's a big move higher, and that continues into early December. Also, it's trade opportunity around the high of November and late November. So that there's a high for November's high probably rallies higher into, like it continues higher into December. We reach for a distant resistance level in December. That's most likely the year's high there in December, as well as it could be the same price level that we had in April. There's a critical technical price level there at the high in December. And we fall pretty hard from a peak or crest there in December. It looks like probably the second week of December. We fall pretty hard from that. It's a brief high that can easily be missed, and there's a fake out or shake out, intentional sort of misdirection going on there near the low of December. Looks like we probably fall into that low of December, and then out of that low in 2024, or out of that decline that looks like we enter into 2024 from, like the end of December, we're declining into early January, but there's looks like a pretty strong move higher out of a decline, or starting out of a decline from the bottom of a range to the top of a range, and that's on a large scale, like multi-month scale kind of range. In 2024, there's also a high and a low within close proximity to each other there in 2024. That's TTOO for 2023, my friends. If you want to see more TTOO, let me know by hitting that like button. Say something in the comments. Most importantly, my friends, make sure you're following that rule of karma when you make money from these readings. It's important that you follow that rule of karma. Keep the channel going. We put out 93 free videos in the last 30 days, guys. That's hard work and a lot of expense. So please help out the channel by sending a little bit back. But also make sure you send a little bit forward, keep the flow going for the universe. Most importantly, whatever you spend that money out of, make sure you spend it out of love. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold in all directions, my friends. I'll see you later.